I wasn't one of those people where I grew up and I said, oh my gosh, I want to be a teacher. I grew up thinking I wanted to be a scientist, and then when I got my degrees and I was in the field, it was not fulfilling to me. So I subbed and I literally fell in love with teaching. I taught biology and chemistry and health for a few years, and then back in 1999 they passed something called an attendance policy in my district, and at that point in time I had 150 biology students. I didn't pass over 50% of my students because of an attendance policy, not because they weren't competent, not because they didn't know the material, but because of a really horrible policy. And to watch those kids completely fall through the cracks broke my heart. So I asked my principal if I can start an alternative school. His response to me was something along the lines of, I don't want to lose you to those students, which just, those students are my students. The back of the class kids those are my students. Like, those are the ones I wanted to work with. I went to my superintendent and I begged to start an alternative school, and he finally acquiesced. And back in 2004, one of my students had a backpack. I mean, half of my job is searching kids, right? So he had a backpack, and I said, give me your backpack. And he said, no. And typically kids just kind of throw me the backpack, and they'll be like, oh, it has cigarettes, a lighter, and a spray paint bottle with a bottle of Reuniti. I'm sorry. And then we just kind of go about our day. And so this kid was really fighting with me about his backpack, and I was like, it wasn't like him. So finally he threw it, and then he just ran. So I opened the backpack and I found 2 pill bottles that were unmarked, and I didn't know what they were. And then next thing you know, there's like 4 more squad cars, DEA. I never heard the word OxyContin before. Mind you, I'm running an alternative school. A lot of my kids are drug involved, and I never heard the word OxyContin. So I went home that night, and on my little blue Mac, I looked up the word OxyContin, and I saw what was happening around the country. And then really it was synonymous with what was happening across the country, where a lot of my students were transitioning because OxyContins, because of supply and demand, became way too expensive. They were transitioning into heroin. And so part of my job was really to search my students for track marks. Spoke with my superintendent about it. He really pushed hard to start the first recovery high school in Massachusetts. And so the North Shore Education Consortium started it. So my life kind of all led up to that point, but I never just grew up and said, oh my gosh, I want to run an alternative school, or I want to, it's like life just kind of guides me and I just listen. So I never thought I'd see myself here, but I guess I really love it.